John Kane stood in the heart of the hegemony's main chamber, his hands shackled behind his back. The imposing hegemony members, draped in their black robes, loomed over him, their faces were obscured by masks of cold indifference. The evidence against him was flimsy, but it didn't matter. The charges of sabotage and espionage were enough. John knew the verdict before it was even announced. The hegemony leader, a woman with a stern voice and a gaze that pierced through the room, called for order. John Kane, you stand convicted of espionage against the hegemony. The evidence, though circumstantial, is sufficient to pronounce you guilty. John clenched his jaw, fighting back the surge of anger. This is a mistake. I've been framed, I swear it. The leader's gaze hardened. Your pleas fall on deaf ears. The hegemony does not tolerate espionage. The room fell silent as the hegemony delivered the sentence. John Kane, your life is forfeit. However, in consideration of your former service, your sentence is commuted to exile. You will be sent to Fursnar, a planet deemed unsuitable for habitation. May this serve as a warning to others. John's heart sank. Fursnar was a barren wasteland known for its lethal environment and lack of any viable resources. It was a planet where only the most desperate or the most resilient survived. The sentence was as good as a death sentence. As the transport ship prepared to depart, John was led away, his mind racing. He knew he had been set up, the evidence against him had been fabricated, manipulated by those who sought to eliminate him. The ship's hatch sealed with a resounding clang, and John was left alone with his thoughts. He gazed out the viewport at the shrinking silhouette of the hegemony station. The transport's engines roared to life, and the vessel lurched into motion. John's resolve hardened, he would not let this be the end. He would survive Fursnar and find a way to clear his name. The hegemony would regret this decision. The transport's landing was brutal. The shuttle slammed onto the harsh surface of Fursnar, jolting John awake from a restless sleep. He stumbled out of the craft, breathing in the harsh, dry air. The sun blazed overhead, casting long shadows on the cracked, desolate land. The only sounds were the howling winds and the distant, ominous roars of unseen creatures. John surveyed his surroundings. The landscape was unforgiving, rocky terrain, sparse vegetation, and a sky perpetually tinged with a sickly orange hue. The first challenge was finding shelter. The shuttle, now a twisted wreck, offered minimal protection from the elements. John set out determined to find a more secure location. Hours of trudging through the inhospitable terrain led him to a narrow cave entrance partially obscured by debris. It was small but offered some protection from the elements. Inside, John found a modicum of refuge. The cave was damp and smelled of decay, but it was better than nothing. The next challenge was finding food and water. John explored the area around the cave, searching for anything that could be of use. He quickly learned that most of the local flora was toxic and the fauna was aggressively territorial. His attempts to harvest water from the sparse vegetation proved fruitless. He had to rely on the meager supplies from the shuttle. John used the wreckage of the shuttle to fashion crude tools, a knife from a broken piece of metal and a makeshift spear from a length of tubing. He set traps and hunted small, skittish creatures that roamed the planet. The hunting was a grim affair, but it provided the sustenance he needed to stay alive. One day, as he ventured further from his cave, John stumbled upon something unexpected: ruins. Ancient structures, half buried in the sand and rock, stood as silent witnesses to a bygone era. The ruins seemed to hint at a once advanced civilization. John's curiosity was piqued. If there was anything left of this old world, it could be the key to surviving and escaping Fursnar. John approached the ruins cautiously. He found a chamber within the largest structure, its entrance partially collapsed. Inside, he discovered strange alien devices, some were in disrepair, but others seemed functional. He set to work trying to understand and repair the technology. His efforts were slow and fraught with challenges, but he knew they were his best hope. Weeks passed, and John's understanding of the ancient technology grew. He managed to restore a small portion of a communication device. It was rudimentary but functional. With it, he could send out a distress signal. He wasn't sure if anyone would receive it, but it was a chance he had to take. Exploring further into the ruins, John found more advanced equipment, holographic projectors, energy cells, and control panels. The more he discovered, the clearer it became that the civilization of Fursnar had been highly advanced before its downfall. The ruins hinted at technologies far beyond what John had seen. One day, while working on the communication device, John received an unexpected response. A garbled message came through, barely decipherable. It was a call for help, but its origin was unclear. John's heart raced. This could be his chance. He redoubled his efforts to repair the device, hoping to establish clearer contact. The story about a human surviving alone on Fursnar spread across the star systems, capturing the attention of a few curious parties. Whispers of a former Earth officer surviving on Fursnar reached distant ears on Earth. Among those who took notice were individuals who knew John's past and suspected the truth. John's days on Fursnar were now filled with both hope and anxiety. He continued to explore the ruins, learning more about the ancient civilization and uncovering clues about their technology. Each discovery was a step closer to proving his innocence and escaping the planet. As the ruins revealed their secrets, John's determination grew stronger. He knew that his survival was just the beginning. The fight to clear his name was far from over, but with each passing day, he was more prepared to face the challenges that lay ahead. John's exile was not the end, it was a test of his will, and he intended to pass it. The hegemony would soon learn that underestimating him was a grave mistake. Fursnar was a harsh teacher, but John was a determined student, ready to face whatever came next. John's daily life in the ruins became a blend of survival and discovery. His focus on repairing the communication device was paramount. He managed to clear the signal enough to send a coherent distress signal to anyone who might be listening. Meanwhile, he continued to unearth more about the ancient civilization. The technology he found was a revelation, providing insights into energy sources and defensive systems that he could potentially use to protect himself and signal for help. One evening, as he was reviewing data logs from a control panel, he received a more intelligible response. The message was brief but promising. An anonymous source on a nearby Earth's outpost had intercepted his signal. The response hinted at a potential rescue but warned of bureaucratic delays in a complicated clearance process. John's hope surged. He knew that even a hint of a response was better than silence. With renewed energy, he accelerated his efforts to improve the communication device, enhance his defenses, and gather as much information as possible from the ruins. As he delved deeper into the ruins, John discovered a hidden chamber containing a full-scale power generator. It had the capability to broadcast signals over vast distances. He worked tirelessly to get it operational, hoping that a stronger signal would expedite a rescue. His efforts did not go unnoticed. Reports of his situation spread, and the Earth's administration began to investigate. However, the political implications and the mysterious nature of his predicament made it a delicate issue. Some factions were eager to clear his name, while others saw it as an opportunity to discredit the hegemony's justice system. Time turned into weeks, and the tension grew. John's existence on Fursnar became a symbol of both resilience and the complexities of interstellar justice. He remained vigilant, aware that any misstep could jeopardize his chances of rescue. Finally, after weeks of painstaking work and mounting pressure from various factions, a Earth's rescue team arrived. The team was led by an officer who knew of John's previous service and was sympathetic to his plight. The officer's team navigated the harsh environment of Fursnar and reached John's location. John's relief was palpable as he boarded the rescue vessel. The journey back to Earth was somber but filled with hope. The process of clearing his name would be long, but John had endured and survived. His experience on Fursnar would become a testament to his resolve and the complexities of justice in the galaxy. John's return to Earth was marked by media frenzy and political maneuvering. The tale of his survival on Fursnar and the injustice of his exile captivated the public. He was escorted to a secure facility where he was debriefed and underwent medical evaluations. John knew his fight was far from over. Clearing his name would require more than just his survival story, it needed irrefutable proof. The first step in his quest was to access the evidence that had been used to convict him. John was granted a temporary reprieve to gather his defense. With the help of a few loyal friends still within the military, he began to piece together the puzzle. They discovered inconsistencies and gaps in the prosecution's case, but it wasn't enough. John needed hard evidence. He suspected that the real saboteurs were still at large, protected by powerful figures within the hegemony. John discovered an unknown drone in hegemony space that was equipped with advanced surveillance capabilities. It had recorded extensive data, including transmissions from the surface of Fersnar. John and his team pored over the data logs. Amidst the technical jargon, they found fragments of intercepted communications. These fragments suggested clandestine activities by a shadowy faction within the hegemony involved in orchestrating his downfall. The drone had captured crucial conversations and encoded messages implicating key figures in the conspiracy. Armed with this new evidence, John approached the hegemony. The encrypted logs were decrypted and cross-referenced with known operations of a rogue faction suspected of internal subversion. The evidence was compelling. It not only exonerated John, but also exposed a deep-rooted conspiracy within the hegemony. The hegemony's reaction was mixed. Some members were eager to clear John's name, while others were concerned about the political fallout. A thorough investigation was launched, leading to the arrest of several high-ranking officials implicated in the conspiracy. John's name was officially cleared. He was reinstated in the military with full honors and received a formal apology from the hegemony. His survival on Fersnar became a symbol of resilience and determination. The media hailed him as a hero, and his story inspired many across the galaxy. But for John, the journey was more than just about clearing his name. It was about justice, truth, and resilience. He had faced the harshest conditions imaginable and emerged stronger. The hegemony had learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of corruption and the importance of integrity. John continued his work with the alien technology, now dedicated to exploring its potential for the betterment of all. He had turned his exile into a mission of discovery and growth, proving that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, the human spirit could prevail.